Hey everyone, welcome to Got Something For Ya, and oh wow, do we have something extra special for you today. We are joined by Todd Herzog, winner of Survivor China. Todd, thank you
Hello.
so much for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. We see your face quite a lot on this podcast. Of course, we have your advertisements for your Funko Pop shop. We love it so much. I have a quick question for you before we get into it. How would you, if you could summarize in one word, the difference between when you played and Survivor now, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, different.
Yeah.
It's one word. It's different. I have to think. Give me 1 second.
Okay. While you're thinking, we have Georgette in the chat who wants to welcome you to our channel. Hey, Georgette, good to see you again. And once again, our live chat is open if you want to interact with the three of us and comment on today's episode.
Hi, Georgette.
So yes,
I would say another good word is woke. Like it's very It's fine.
yeah, there's definitely a different they're definitely highlighting stories in a much different way now. I think we get a lot of backstories in this new era. We also have the shorter season time, which I'm curious to hear your thoughts on as well. But when you played, I mean, it was a different there we go. Yeah, there we go. First of all, have to shout out the vest. I love the vest so much. I tried copying your look today with the red shirt, but I could not find my vest.
The vest was like, I don't know why, but I loved my vests. I think everybody in 2007 loved vests and like scarves that were useless.
Yeah.
So, scarf that was, had no point, and you were.
Well, we do a thing called Spark or Snuff on our channel, which is where we comment on the castaways' outfits. Ollie, what would you give that look?
I'm gonna spark it just because it's Todd. I have to spark my favorite my favorite winner. So.
Well, okay, I do have to why I chose a vest, okay? So, I knew that like we were told to send in press outfits, and we sent in like long sleeve shirts and t-shirts and stuff like that. But they were very adamant about the press outfit. And they were like, this is what you're going to do all of your pre-game photos. And I was like, no, this is what they're going to throw us into the jungle wearing. And so there's going to be girls who are wearing next to nothing. But if I have a vest, I can loan that to them to wear and make a friendship there. And sure enough, like I shared that vest with pretty much everyone.
Wait, tell me, how did the vest work? Because it's sleeveless. So I imagine it doesn't provide much warmth.
But it buttons up so that like if they weren't wearing underwear, they could be covered. So Courtney wore it all the time. Frosty even wore it. PG wore it sometimes. Like it was just something I was like, I can use this to say like, oh yeah, here, use this.
Very smart, very clever. I love that twist at the opening. It was so like reality TV of the time. Everyone enters, you see everyone. Some people are in high heels, and it's like, nope, this is the outfits you're going to be playing in. Just wonderful. Throw your bags out. So let's get into today's episode. But real quick, just wanted to say hello to some boy. Yo, it's Todd, one of the greatest of all times. Absolutely. We're definitely happy to have you here.
Hi, some boy.
So we get into today's episode with Kenzie, who basically was left out of the vote, the Tiffany vote, which was initially, as the episode showed us a week before, sort of her idea to target Tiffany at that point, but she held back and did not do it. So this was funny. I mean, when you hear someone say on the island or wherever you're playing this game, like, you could have told me about the vote, I would have voted with you. I mean, how do you react to something like that? I think this is a question for both of you, but let's start with Todd.
I mean, if someone says you could have told me, it's like, yeah, I could have, but why would I tell you if I like the reason why I didn't, obviously, and so I feel like that saying that is just like whiny. She should have went through with it like in the first place. If it's your idea and you have the reason why, don't then back out, because then you just look wishy-washy. So they had a good reason to not tell her, because she was then saying, no, it's not time. And it's like, okay, well, you just said it was, but now it's not. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think it's a tricky one, because I do think Kenzie was kind of brought the idea there. So like in that sense, I was like, if they had kind of been like, no, we kind of do want to push this a little bit more just to see her thoughts, then maybe. I think because they kind of, I think with Kenzie, she was able to kind of back up her thing of, I would have voted with you, because they kind of never pushed it from what we saw anyway. But I do think like she was very shaky on it. I agree. So I think I can understand why they didn't. But I'm hoping this kind of gives Kenzie the fire, because she was, as she said earlier on, she was very much comfy. So I'm hoping this sorts her out.
But here's the other thing too, is like the reason why you don't tell Kenzie when she says she doesn't want to is it's no longer her move.
That's fair as well.
I agree with that. I think the thing that I noticed with Kenzie here was that it seems like if you bring up a move, you better be ready to do that move. And that's what was missing from Kenzie's game at this point.
Because I really like Kenzie. I think she potentially take the entire thing. But since she said she didn't want to, someone else stole that giant move. And now she can't claim it. You know what I mean?
But you know who can claim it? Maria. And we also get this, a little bit later, Charlie explains that this was Maria's move to Kenzie. But Maria's now like, I don't have a photo of this, but she wants a final five with Q, Ben, Liz, and Charlie. Basically, everyone who was involved in the Tiffany vote. So that excludes Venus and Kenzie. And I thought this was so funny because this sequence to me was like Venus being like, welcome to the bottom. Come here, my friend. Let me inaugurate you and show you how I've been playing this game. Like that was very this mood.
Absolutely.
I kind of was hoping that they would work together out of this.
Oh, I was definitely hoping for it, to be completely honest, because like, imagine Kenzie and Venus and Charlie as a final three. That would have been great.
So good.
Oh, would have been stunning. Yeah, I was happy to kind of see Charlie show his agency, because like just going back to the Maria thing, I do think the fact that Maria was so quick to be like, I want this five. I did genuinely believe her, because I was kind of looking at it as to say like, she's got her shield in Q, she's got her bestie in Charlie, and then she has like her tag along in Ben. So I'm like, of course she wants this five, because she sees the benefit in capitalizing on it.
Yes.
Yeah, you go, Todd.
Oh, I mean, you're completely right, because like, here's the thing is, if everybody is going to be like, yeah, that sounds like a great final five, right there, she's able to pick and choose who she can take to the finals. You know, I mean, let's be real. If she's with Liz and Ben, she's going to win. If she's Q and Liz, she's going to win. If she's even with Charlie, she's got to move over Charlie and she can win. But the jury does look bitter. So,
yeah, we'll see with this jury. I'm definitely curious to know where it's going to go. I mean, now that we've been saying on the podcast, we've been saying that if the final three is Q, Liz, and Venus, then that win is going to be up in the air. Like I would love to have seen a final tribal council with them as final three. But now that spot, one of those spots is out of there, I'm curious to see who might end up in that third position, assuming Liz and Q both make it to the final three as well, because that person to me seems like, based on the reactions from the jury, seems like they would be the easy vote to win. So it's all fascinating. And we get everyone goes on an idol hunt right here at this point, because an idol left the game. But who ends up with it? It's Venus. I was so happy. I was so full of hope at this time.
I was so excited for her. Venus, why didn't you play? Yeah.
That's the question of a lifetime. You get so like, I don't know, you just try to risk it, I guess, with these idols. I think having an idol would make me personally nervous, but I can't even imagine, Todd, the idols from Survivor China. This is the photo of it from when it appeared in Ghost Island again. But I don't know how any of you snuck away with those.
They were huge, okay? So like, obviously I didn't want to hold on to any of them. I did have a deal with James so that we're sharing them. None of that made it easy or anything. But to be completely honest, I was like, I know what the idols can do. I don't want that in my possession, because once someone finds out, you're target number one. And these things, like you said, are huge. So yeah, it was a mess. Like, and it was pretty obvious James walking around with his gigantic square bag.
I was gonna say something like this in like a flimsy tote. I was like, how do you not see that?
It was so bad. It was just this huge, heavy, squared bag. And I was like, what could possibly be in there when you have like pants and a shirt and that's it?
Yeah.
We have Minnows in the chat who wants to say hello. Can't stay for long, but oh yeah, it was a great episode, Minnows. Minnows, always great to see you. Don't worry, you can always catch this episode on our channel after we go live. But Venus, yeah, flew too close to the sun. It was definitely an Icarus moment. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was so sad because I was so full of joy. As soon as I saw Venus get it, I was just so happy because I feel like she'd had such a trying time in the game that the fact she was able to get the idol, it was kind of almost that thing of, oh, finally, maybe this is her chance to just have some good luck. And also, Matthew, just to correct you, not everyone was looking.
Are you talking about Venus's lack of looking?
No, Liz.
Oh, Liz was asleep. That's right. I wish
say-
I got a photo of that.
That was the funny part for me. Like, just Liz has no intention of looking for an idol, which now that I think about it, really does actually benefit her, because when it comes to the fact of when people are like, oh my God, who could have the idol? At least everyone can sit there and go, well, not Liz.
True, unless it was back at camp, right? I mean, here's the fun thing with Venus. I like her strategy here, which was she got excited after finding the idol, was like, oh, let me go read it, and then was like, no, wait, I'm gonna go keep searching with everyone. And I thought, amazing.
Yeah.
And it was funny that Kenzie even commented on how bad Venus was at looking for the idol.
It was the whole thing was awesome and great, and I was genuinely hoping that it would work out, you know. One conversation with Charlie that ruined it.
Yes. Well, yep. We're going to talk about that. And speaking of Charlie, we have this, like, Charlie's narrative was really interesting this episode because it had a lot to do. It was putting him in the middle of it, like it was making him try to choose, which, you know, as the vote goes at the end, wasn't really the reality of things. But it made it seem like Charlie had to choose between Maria and that relationship that he has built and turning on Maria. And it was interesting because, like, I think the episode up until the immunity challenge did a really good job at kind of making it seem, to me, it felt like Maria was going to go home this episode. I don't know if anyone else felt that way.
100% felt that way.
I don't necessarily know if I was 100% thinking Maria was going, but I definitely had the feeling of like Charlie is turning on Maria. Like, this is the time where Charlie differentiates himself from Maria. And whether that was going for like Maria or even Q, because I think that first sequence was really kind of Charlie doing a good job at showing how socially aware he was, because he was sat there like, Maria has got Q. Like, yeah. I know that. Like, and at this point, Q, like, I have no reason for Q. Q does not trust me as much as Maria. So no matter what, I'm not going to be able to influence him. And I think during these scenes, he did a really good job at, you know, putting himself really in the middle and having arguably the most agency in the game, which was nice to see for him. I just do hope moving forward, he is able to act on it. I think that's all he's got to do. He's got the agency. He just needs to act on it.
Yes. I mean, I think you're completely right. It's like a Jesse Cody situation, you know, where you've played basically the same, but Maria has one move above Charlie.
Yes.
And so it's like, okay, Charlie, if you don't do it and people are looking at the resume at the end, then that's going to be your, which is what Kenzie was saying.
Yeah.
You know, she basically laid it out, and it was the same thing with her and Tiffany. Like, she knew Tiffany would do with her in the end. Tiffany had just one step above her.
That's
Agreed.
true. I think with Charlie in particular, it was interesting to see the way that the other castaways, like Kenzie, like you mentioned, were talking about him in their confessionals. Like that's something I love paying attention to. It's like, all right, what is this person saying about where they think this person is in the game? Because what I felt like the episode was kind of doing was showing like Kenzie's perspective, or we'll say the other castaways' perspective, and then Charlie's reality. And I thought that that was a really interesting point of view it was taking. Real quick, Mex Libris wants to say, great job on the Hunter Funko, Todd.
Thank
so
you.
excellent. And Minnows, we love you, Minnows. Thank you so much for supporting us. But yeah, I agreed. The edit was it was quite the blind side. So Charlie, I kind of really felt that he's getting a little bit of a winner's edit, or he's getting a gonna be out at fire making challenge edit.
Yeah.
I can't tell.
I thought the same thing actually. I was like, he's either getting a really good light if he's going to be in free, or it could be like a card.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's either kind of winner or fallen angel. Like he's one of the two at this point. But I don't know. It's really hard to tell at this moment because again, I think we need to see if he makes a move, and if he's able to make a solid move, then I think he's got a really good shot. But I think right now, because I haven't seen much of a move, I'm more leaning towards fallen angel. But we've still got next episode and the finale, so anything can happen.
Yeah. I want to see what happens with Charlie's edit. It's been the one that's been sticking out to me, especially in this last episode. I don't have a photo of this either. I slacking with the photos today, but we have to talk about how Liz told Kenzie about Maria's Final Five idea. I feel like that was a big part of this podcast, of this episode of Survivor also, which is the fact that Maria's strategy was told to Kenzie, who's not in that Final Five alliance. I think we should just put a pin in that because it brings up a lot of questions as to why the vote went the way it did at the end of this episode.
What I think what happened was Charlie and Venus chatted, and then because Kenzie was so upset that she was left out of the last vote, Charlie told Kenzie so that she could be in on the vote, and Liz so that she could be in on the vote, didn't feel so stupid or bad or left out.
Honestly, that seems like the most simple answer that could possibly. I think that's right. I think that's absolutely correct.
To make sure, didn't then get back to camp and then try to like flip-flop something now that the numbers are dwindling, because then that very likely could have happened if they were left out.
You know what else could have likely happened? Venus winning individual immunity at this immunity challenge, which was so exciting to watch because it got to a point in the challenge where everyone was racing through, let's just get to this part, was racing through this like snake puzzle where you had to balance the ball and maneuver it. Todd, did you have any challenges on China that was like similar enough where you had to concentrate?
I mean, like concentrate on this, like a puzzle like that?
Yeah, well, like something like this. I don't know if you had the thing with the ball that had to go upwards or
No.
Puzzles, like we did the Great Wall puzzle and stuff, but it wasn't like this. This is something, to be completely honest, I'm good at this kind of stuff. I would probably have won something if we had anything like this, but we did not.
I was going to say, yeah, like the main things, Todd, you had was the final four, which was the plates. You had, what was the final five one was the repeats, wasn't it? It was like, yeah. And then I think
drum and star. So yeah, it was like the repeat.
The blue.
Oh, okay. I really liked that plate stacking challenge. I thought that was really fun and really cool. I'd like to see a version of that show up again.
The one I liked that Todd season did with China was I think it was the final six one where you had to race through the swamp.
That was my favorite.
Do the answer.
That was my absolute favorite challenge. So much fun. It felt like Survivor. I was so cool. And then like you had to answer a trivia question and grab a key and then go back through the swamp. And I was like in the lead the entire time. And then I guess one question
What a
wrong.
mistake, yeah.
Who won that? Was that Amanda?
No, PG.
Oh, okay. PG. Oh, PG. I love, and also PG's
Yeah.
win with the memory game too was so
Yes.
exciting. Yeah, that was a great challenge as well. And this one was edited to seem like Venus was going to win. I think that was the prompt. I think they said when editing this challenge, let's make it seem like Venus is going to end up winning, which is kind of like what they did with Liz and the Applebee's rewards challenge, where they edited it to make it seem like it was going to be this huge come from behind. And Venus got so close. So close. As soon as I saw her proximity to where she was going to tilt and where the ball was going to roll off, I was like, oh, it's done.
Yeah.
It was a sad moment, I won't lie. And especially since it was between Venus and Maria. And it's like I wanted to like Maria a lot more, but for some reason I feel like after the last vote, the power just went straight to her head. And it's like, don't get all like high and mighty and like,
Yeah.
it's something turned it off for me because I was rooting for her. Now I'm just like, ew, back off.
I completely agree. I feel like this episode, especially for me, I really saw a lot of mistakes socially. Like it was at the start of the episode when she talked about the final five and we saw that confessional from her. I was like, Maria, think about it like socially. If you stick with that five, you're going to be annoying the next three people that join that jury. I was like, and obviously you're going to have other people that aren't really on your side already on the jury. And then obviously we're probably going to talk about this next moment, which I think was such a simple thing, but done like, I was like, Maria.
It was really poorly executed, if this is what we're about to talk about.
Oh, yeah, let's get into it because I agree. This was not my favorite moment of Maria's, I will say. So she wins immunity, she wins reward. It's a pizza reward, and she gets to choose one person and then chooses another person. So if I believe correctly, the first person she chose was Ben. And then she tells everyone else who's there. So Charlie and Kenzie are like, we're out of the running. And Maria says something along the lines of, I want to make sure everyone's well fed or something like that. And then tells Q, Venus, and Liz to plead their case. And I was like, okay, you're not going to get much by having them plead their case. I don't know what she was looking for exactly. And then after they're done doing that, she tells she eliminates Venus and tells Q and Liz to rock, paper, scissors for the reward. I just did not like this. I didn't appreciate this. If I can say my piece real quick, I wasn't here for last week's episode where Q won the reward and did not choose Liz, which was a polarizing decision. But I respected that because Q won the reward and Q was allowed to choose whoever he wanted to choose. This was like not making a decision, which I think is really bad in the game of Survivor. When you have the chance to make a choice, make the choice.
Yeah. Either bring your alliance members or bring the ones that aren't in your alliance so that they're not back convincing your alliance members of other things. It's like pretty straightforward. Yeah. Says, hey, cool, Charlie. Yeah, thanks for backing out. And then she's like, okay. The whole Q situation was so bizarre because he literally just went to Applebee's, and it proves that you're babysitting him. You're holding his hand.
Yeah.
It was so strange.
I agree. It was so stupid, especially because the reason she didn't want to pick Kenzie is because she had just gone on the Applebee's reward. Yeah. So if you're not picking Kenzie, then surely you should not be picking Q. And I think the fact that she decided to do rock, paper, scissors between Q and Liz, personally, I think Venus had every right to clock Maria for it when she did later on during the episode in a tribal. And I know last episode I was very critical on Q because I was like, human me would have picked Venus in that situation. And I'm still on that opinion, but I can at least respect Q's decisions because he outlined strategically why he was picking people and he was very open and honest about it. Like, I can respect that more than Maria sitting there and going, oh well, these people are now nourished. Like, oh, I want to make sure people are feeling all right. And then you do rock, paper, scissors. I'm like, that's it doesn't help the situation. Like, it doesn't help you. And once again, it's another social mistake.
Like, she should have just instantly said Ben and Kenzie, because then the least amount of damage game-wise would be done.
I agree with that. I think, and then they tried they tried challenging Venus on it later in the tribal council, and I think it's okay to bring it up now, where I sided with Venus because I was like, at least Venus would have made a decision. Maybe she wouldn't have chosen Maria or Q to go, but like she would have at least picked two people without leaving it up to a game of chance. Real quick, Chris says that Chris would have picked Matthew and Ollie for the reward. You're just gonna leave Todd back at camp, Chris? But Chris, who'd you pick first? Who's the first name you say? I'm curious about that. Anyway, so they do the rock, paper, scissors. Q wins, and it's Q and Ben who go on the pizza reward, which, by the way, Todd, do you watch Australian Survivor at all?
Yeah.
Okay. I was really nervous. I don't know if either of you remember that season. I think it was Heroes vs. Villains, where one of the tribes won a pizza reward and the pizza ended up being frozen and they just ate it frozen.
Yes.
That was wild.
That was so stupid.
I thought it was going to happen here. But it didn't. And they go on their reward and they come back to camp and everyone is miserable. And this conversation was really fun television.
This was fun.
What made it fun was Venus. Like, Venus's reactions. Because that would have been me. Like, I'd have just been sat there like, okay, Maria. Yeah. Okay. Like, because I do think Maria sat there and it was that thing of no matter what she said, it was not helping her case.
No.
And it's just Venus there. And then it's Liz kind of voicing her opinion, which I think too right, she was allowed to. She has every right to. And then I think it's like Q comes in and Maria goes, Liz. And it's like, she's like, I don't care. Like, we all know, like, and I think Q knows how everyone feels. Like, at least they're kind of very open with Q being like, we don't vibe, like, we're not on the same page. We know this. So it's kind of like, Maria shouldn't be sitting there trying to, I'm not saying she's policing them in the sense, but like, Q's aware. They're all aware. Just let it happen, Maria. just let it be.
Why Maria went and sat there in the first place. Like, in this kind of situation, read the room, like, let them cool off, wait for, like, I don't know, at least, and go do something else. Find somewhere else to be, because they don't want.
I don't even know who. Let's say Liz won the rock, paper, scissors. I don't even see anyone being happy out of that scenario either. So, like, I'm aligned with you. I mean, except Liz, because Liz would have eaten something, but still, there's still the notion of I still had to play rock, paper, scissors for this reward. So, like, it was odd. I actually will say I do think that I kind of see why Maria wanted to kind of get in there right away. Was it the best timing? I'm not sure, but I feel like there were things that people wanted to say that I think it was actually better that she sort of just like put herself in the situation so that they could say those things and maybe move on.
Yeah, I will say, just going back on the thing, I think if Liz did go on the reward, I think they would still mention the rock, paper, scissors. They'd be like, that was kind of a weird thing to do. But I think there would be less issues, because I think Q would have just been like Q. And I actually don't think Kenzie would have been that bothered. Because Kenzie actually was also with Charlie on the, I don't really need it, I'll step out.
Right.
I think she would have been more okay with, if it was Liz, she would have been more like, at the end of the day, Liz went, so it's fine. Like, she needs this more. Because I remember on the pizza reward, Liz and Q were literally sat there and they were like, she's got rice. And I'm like, you've just sat there and kind of been like she showed her hand again to be like, no, I wanted Q. I'm happy this was the result.
Well, and because the thing too is, like, Liz was the one who was like freaking Q, so she kind of started the anger riot. So if she had gone on the reward, I'm sure someone else would have said. In any situation, there's going to be people who are upset that they didn't.
Yeah.
But I feel like Q was just the worst possible choice she could have done.
It wasn't great, but her whole logic was, I want to keep Q happy, right? And I wish all she said, I could see this logic, right? She wants to work with Q, she wants to keep Q happy, but I wish all she said was, Q chose me for the Applebee's reward. You know, like I wish it was just that simple. That was right? Maria got chosen for. Okay,
Yeah.
I wish that was it. That would have been. Who can argue with that, right? At that point,
I don't think that it would have started the argument, like the fights that it did, if she said that, because that makes perfect sense. You can't.
Well, this is the thing. She did mention it at the start with the deliberation going back to the thing. She did say, like, oh, Q did take me on the Applebee's reward. But then it's the fact that she kind of pushed the notion of feeding people that need it more. And I think that's where she went wrong. Had she said, I've forgotten her name, Liz. If she said, like, Liz really needs this for her malnourishment, Q took me on the reward last week, so it's fair to do this. It's going to be between them two. I feel like I need to pick Q because he did that. I think then people wouldn't have been mad. Not saying they wouldn't have been mad. They wouldn't have been as mad because at least they'd sit there and be like, well, she was honest.
Yeah.
Can't hate that.
Is just make a choice, like Venus said. Just make a decision.
Agreed. And you're right, Ollie. She did sort of bring it up at the beginning, but then, as you said, she kind of dangled the idea of the malnutrition, and it kind of landed in that square. So she chose Q, and then everyone's kind of upset about this. So we get everyone trying to get Charlie on their side for the vote. And again, this was just an interesting, it was interesting to see Charlie in this situation. We see that he has a great social game, it seems like, because everyone wants to approach him about stuff. I mean, Venus flat out admits about her idol, basically, more or less admits about having an idol to Charlie. And it's like, oh, well, let's talk about this for a second. I was confused. I was befuddled. I was upset. You know, I wish that she held on to this information, because I think what she was trying to do was make it seem like, okay, Charlie, if you work with us for this vote, I'll let you in on what I've got going on.
Exactly. I mean, so the way that I think she was approaching it is saying, like, I will share this information with you here, but you have to keep me what this night. Like, she thought she was making a great deal, but it came off as super wishy-washy. Like, I may or may not have something.
Yeah.
Sent him into a spiral of paranoia.
Yeah. I was gooped. I was gagged. I was disgruntled. This was the moment I was sat there and I was like, I think literally I was just like, I think that was my reaction to this, because I was just sat there and I was like, you have just voted yourself out. Because at that point, I saw a world where Charlie was fully in the middle and would have sided with the girls and possibly got Ben involved. I mean, Ben is wishy-washy on me this episode, but at least I feel like there would have been a strong for their voting for Q. But I think this moment I was just like, all of that hard work you've done, all of that moment where things were looking up has just gone crashing down, and it was just so sad to see.
It was so sad because she was not going home.
I think my question for both of you is the following. Obviously, the correct move would be to not allude to the fact that you have an advantage. However, if she wanted to, and if she did, would it have been better if she just flat out said, I have the idol, we're going to use this to get us both to the end? Like, is that the better way to go about, other than doing this wishy-washy, oh, I might have something, or I don't, you know? Like, is it better to just be for certain and commit to telling it?
Yeah, I think it would have possibly been better for her to say it, and even for Charlie to go, play your idol.
Yeah.
I think it would have possibly been better for her.
I don't think she should have said anything, but like, I understand what she was trying to do. It's like saying to a friend, okay, you do this and I'll tell you this information. And you think that you're good, right? Like, okay, it's like proving that we can trust each other. So I understand where her brain was at, but it was pretty obvious that Charlie was instantly like, wait, what do you mean? What do you have? Like, what's going on? And she was like, you'll see. Like, whoa. And it's like, no, come on. You cannot leave him like this, because it's pretty obvious that Charlie gets paranoid pretty easily. And then he ran around, you know? And so I feel like if she said I had the idol, he would have thought she was bluffing. And then they would have still voted for her, hoping that she played it to flush it. And she wouldn't have played it because she thought she was fine.
I mean, that's true. It would have happened regardless, it seems like, just based on all of this. And we got to talk about the Taylor Swift's honest truth of the episode. So Charlie, obviously, like Todd just said, runs to Kenzie and is like, Venus has something. Like, what are we going to do? And the question becomes, when we go to tribal council, is it Q or is it Venus? And I have to say, I was really shocked at how the votes ended up. But before we get into tribal council, we're going to take a very quick ad break. I wonder which ad we should watch. Oh.
What's up, guys? I'm Todd Herzog, the winner of Survivor China, and I want to welcome you to Todd's Pop Shop. Here, me and my husband Jess, we custom make Funko Pops. We'll make literally anybody or anything you could imagine. But being that we're here listening to the Survivor Now podcast, I'm assuming you're all Survivor fans. So take a look at these. Some custom Funkos of your favorite Survivor winners, Sandra and Yule. Or how about Big Brother fans? Suri Goddess herself playing the game of Big Brother. You can also get her in Survivor form. Or maybe yourself with your favorite buff and a torch playing the game. But even better, get yourself with your favorite player like Nora here with Ozzy. And since you're listening to the Survivor Now podcast, if you mention this ad, you will get $10 off your first order and free shipping. All season long, Survivor 45 should be a good one. Mention this ad, $10 off and free shipping. I'll be watching too, still a diehard fan to this day. Hit me up on Instagram, Todd's Pop Shop, or toddspopshop@gmail.com, or on Facebook, and I will see you soon.
I love the elevator music in the ad. But Todd, I have to ask, when did you discover that you had a talent for creating these figures?
Honestly, it's like, I've never been an artistic person. COVID happened and everybody online was like doing art stuff, like being projects and so I was like, ooh, let's make some Funko Pops, because I wanted the Spice Girls. And Funko never made the Spice Girls. So I was like, let's make the Spice Girls to my husband. And so I started making them. And then I was like, wow, this is actually pretty fun. And I did a pretty good job. And then it just blew up.
It's so impressive. I love following your Instagram, seeing all of the creations, what you do for fans. It's like, it's mind blowing. Do you have a favorite that you've created?
It changes. Like, I'll make one and I'm like, oh my gosh, love this one. And then, a couple weeks later, I'll make another one and I'm like, this is so fun. So it changes from time to time. But I love doing it. It's so much fun. I've made over 4,000 now.
4,000. That is quite the resume. And I have to say, I do have a folder on my desktop that is saying like for Todd's Pop creation. Like, I have inspiration that I'm going to be sending your way soon.
Love that.
So, I would love to have one. What is international shipping though? This is my question.
You're in Australia, right?
No, UK.
Oh, UK. So you're looking at like 32 USD.
Yeah, that's fine. My boyfriend can do that.
Yeah, Australia is the most expensive. It's like $40.
Don't mind us. We're just drafting up Ollie's invoice for production. But we go into tribal council, and first we got to spark. We got to spark and say hello to Tiffany. I'm assuming, Ollie, that this is why you put the photo in here.
Yeah, I mean, also just because we've showcased each juror, I feel like it's only fair. I feel like we have to give them some praise because last week, neither of you two were here, but Hunter came, and the reason I had Hunter was because no, I think a lot of people didn't notice this. His shirt was actually his promo look.
His what look?
So the shirt that he wore for his promo photos, the blue one, it was the same one that he wore for the first look on his jury. And I was like, oh, what a full circle moment. But yes, Queen Tiffany, Spark.
Oh, Tiffany.
Total spark. And then we get another it was a very fun tribal council. I think Jeff was correct to bring some licorice this time to enjoy during the festivities. Well, actually, this is I'd love to know, seeing Jeff and how he's, let's say, matured into the host position. I mean, from 15 to where we are now, which is 46. How has Jeff changed, Todd? Have you noticed anything?
Yes. Jeff used to scream at us. Like, he was so not friendly or nice when we were at tribal council. Like, if you were like being aloof or not really answering questions, he would stop the cameras and be like, scream at you and be like, do you want anybody to appreciate your game? Are you going to answer me or not? It was like, oh, Jeff, oh, okay, sorry.
I wouldn't know how to react. I think my jaw would just drop and I'd be speechless.
It was never directed towards me, so I was never like hurt by him or anything, but he was not this sweet old Jeff that he is now.
I was going to say, I feel like a lot of people your season, though, were very kind of upfront with when they were answering tribal questions. I mean...
Probably because Jeff yelled at them.
Yeah, probably. But then again, you also had people like Courtney that would just say it how it was, which we love and stand. So that was probably also like, well done.
This photo makes me laugh because it's just also looking at Liz right there in the bottom corner. It's just funny. I mean, what this really becomes is Q versus Venus, and everyone is just kind of there along for the ride. And I want to know, were there any arguments that either of you sort of latched onto that you felt like was going in a good direction for either one of them?
Venus's clapback. I don't know if I have the quote. It was where, I do. It was where Q was like, and that's why you weren't brought into the last vote. And she went, I knew about the previous 3 and you didn't. Ooh.
That was so good.
It was so good. It was also Tiffany's, ooh.
Yeah.
Because at that moment, everyone went, clocked it. And I think that's where you kind of we saw like Venus is very aware.
Yes.
Like even though Venus has been on the bottom, that does not mean she has no idea what's going on. She has been fully aware of the dynamics and who's actually fully been told about stuff and who hasn't. So at that moment, I was like, well done.
Absolutely. I mean, I honestly thought that even with everything that went down, I still thought Venus was safe here. And so I was blindsided at tribal council. I was like, are you serious? Like, why? Yeah.
Well, it was amazing to see how many votes Venus ended up getting, which was basically the majority. Well, sorry, it was the majority, but it was basically unanimous. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. But I want to know, Todd, because you played the game before, Venus, I feel like this season, what we've seen was a lot of people that didn't want to play with Venus for what was voiced to the camera seemed to be very general, very broad reasons that there wasn't quite any specifics to latch onto. Even Q in this tribal council, as far as I remember, said something along the lines of, we can't trust Venus because she hears a name and then she goes running to another person. And I'm like, well, that's just called scrambling, right? Like that's what it seems like the game is. You're supposed to anticipate those type of things. But is there something like, if you were playing with Venus, would you want to be aligned with her, or would she be a dangerous player?
I mean, I feel like I would want to be aligned with her because she honestly reminded me a lot of Courtney, and Courtney was my number one. So I feel like I would have been aligned with her. So watching these people not and want to play with her at all. Maybe they just don't like her. Maybe their personalities are so opposite that they don't get, they just don't mix. Because like we all know that Charlie is like a very Taylor Swift kind of, boy. And, Venus is like an icon of pop type of girl. They're opposites. They won't mash well. And so that just doesn't make sense for them to work together. And Charlie found his mom instead. So, yeah.
So, sorry, it just clicked. Anyway, I think I'm agree with you there. I'm glad you brought up Courtney in that moment. I mean, I want to give Venus her flowers because Venus reminded me of characters like Courtney, like characters we've seen in the past on Survivor that I mean, we don't really see anymore. And I liked how upfront she was. I liked how visible her game was and how visible she was socially, even if it was to the detriment of her game. But it was very entertaining. And I really appreciated seeing Venus on this season.
I agree. And I feel like the only reason why it didn't work in her favor is because there was just not anybody else who could handle her personality out there. So I don't think she did anything wrong or anything is wrong with her. I just feel like she was given the wrong cast to play her style of game.
If she had a different cast, things could have been different. But I mean, I echo both. Like everything both of you've just said, like Matt knows this, like the fact that everyone was referencing Courtney, I loved because Courtney is my favorite player of all time. Like she's amazing. And again, like Venus is so upfront. Venus has no issues telling you how it is. And the thing is, everyone always like kind of went in on Venus, but she was always very vocal about where she stood. And like, again, people were like, oh, you're flip-floppy, you're wishy-washy. I'm like, Venus?
Was this a good move for everyone left in the game?
No.
For some people, sure, right? For anyone, for Q, right? Like it was either going to be Q or Venus, but was this correct for some of the people who are playing towards the bottom? Like I'm thinking of Kenzie, I'm thinking of Liz, I'm thinking of Charlie. Yes, they're involved in the vote, but are they going to make it past final 6?
I think the only person this truly benefited was Q.
Yeah.
Because I think, obviously, like Kenzie mentioned it, like she's losing someone that does want to work with her. So it's kind of like she's looking at Charlie and Ben to say, it's like, if you now screw me over, like, get ready for that jury. Similar with Liz, I don't feel like it benefited Liz that much. I actually don't think it benefited Maria. In a social sense, because I think you really have not, when it comes to jury management, there was none with Venus. So I think when it comes to if hypothetically speaking, Maria gets to the jury and Venus is there, if Maria is thinking she has a chance to get Venus's vote, I'm going to sit there and be like, girl, I can tell you now, Venus is not voting for you. And like I think had she done a couple of more social things this round, it could have benefited her. But yeah, I think Venus going did not benefit most people.
Here's my issue with this, like, especially since the 5 that Maria talked about was made public knowledge, right? So you should be able to pick out who the 3 are from the 5. It shouldn't, it's, if you're there and you're with these people all the time, you know what the game plan is in these people's heads. So number 4 and number 5 should know where they are, and 100% should have used Venus to get rid of those 3 instead. It just, that to me is where my mind is blown. I'm like, are you serious right now? You really think you're going to have a better shot with Q and Maria than you would with Venus and Kenzie, especially since the jury doesn't necessarily love Venus.
Right. That's the thing. You have to take into account who the jury is most likely going to vote against at the end. It makes me just think that there was this. What I feel like happened is when there was an opportunity to vote with the majority. I feel like a lot of the players at this point, let's just say Kenzie and Liz, I feel like once they heard Charlie start to waver, go ahead, Ollie.
Well, no, okay. I agree. No, I completely agree.
I feel like that they decided, okay, it's just better to be with the majority. It's just better to vote with the majority here right now. And I don't think we're at that stage of the game anymore.
No.
I think once Charlie and specifically Ben became too wishy-washy, I think Kenzie and Liz were at least smart enough to sit there and go, we just need to help ourselves here, and at least we don't go into the minority and really do struggle. Like, at least now both of them voting in majority, they have somewhere to go. But I do think the fact Charlie and Thingy, yeah.
Like, that's what I don't understand is if you're already in the minority, you're basically just saying, okay, here you go. Here, you get what you want. And that's what pisses me off, because that's not playing the game.
Yeah. And I also didn't really understand. Well, Ben's positioning in this also is very interesting to me, because I don't really understand what's going on there. Ollie, you have thoughts?
In the nicest way possible, Ben has, from a game sense, been pissing me off so much, and I'm so sorry for the naughty word.
In the nicest way possible.
In the nicest way possible. No, but here is why. It's because, so for me, this episode, and I actually haven't talked about it this much, this episode for me has been this thing of actions speak louder than words. And I feel like with Ben, I feel like with Maria, even with Q ever so slightly, their words have been completely different to their actions. And I feel like Ben was a completely good example in the sense of he was one of the most shadiest vocal people towards Q. Like, I think last episode and the episode before, I was there like praising Ben, being like, good job for standing up for it. Good job for like calling it out. And he's now kind of like flipped the page and been like, oh, Q's all right. Yeah, we're rocking out. And I'm like, the one you called a bully. And then also the fact that you've sat there and gone, oh, I want like Q's a threat. Q's someone we can go for. He wants to go for Venus, but Q is definitely an option next round. And then you go and vote for Kenzie. Like, first of all, don't vote for my girl. Don't vote for my girl, Kenzie. But also, if you're worried about Venus playing an idol and you want there to be collateral damage, why not Q? Like, it was very confusing for me this episode. Sorry, I really needed to rant about it.
I agree with you, because first of all, I don't feel like Ben knows what he's doing, and so he's listening to what he's told. And right now, Maria is the one telling him what to do. He was like, we need Q. We must have Q. And he's like, oh, yeah, we do. We do need him. Okay.
I totally agree with both of you on this matter. And Ollie, since you brought up the idol, I want to touch on that for a second, because this is the third consecutive tribal council in a row that the person holding the idol did not play it and goes home. And so what's going on here? I think people obviously want to prolong their idol, but just my thought here is, the moment that you tell someone, or allude in this case, about your idol, play it. Just play it, that tribal council. Just play it. That just seems, it doesn't matter if you misplay it and you play it for yourself when you don't need to. Just play it. Get it out of your hands at that point. And it's interesting to see the mistake being made over and over and over again this season.
It's outrageous. I'm sorry. Tiffany even said, I don't want the idol anymore. I don't want it. It's got a target on my back. And then she's like, I'm going to hold on to it one more time. And it's like, that's what you get for being greedy. Like, get rid of it. Because here's the thing is, once people know, even if you are not the main target, they're going to try to flush it. And if someone misvotes at all, you're going to be the one that goes home. So just play it.
Yep. Plus, this is a record-breaking, like, Survivor 46 have made history. This is the most times now people have left with idols in their pocket, with 4.
Wow. That's a cool statistic.
5 technically, isn't it? Because what's his face?
I know everyone says Randon. He didn't have the idol. He had the Beware, but then he
That's
wasn't technically voted out. Randon's a weird one. Like
Yeah,
I think
it wasn't a blind side, but it is.
Yeah.
It is a coincidence that also did
Yeah.
happen to Randon.
Yeah.
I think we should just get into it now, which is Ollie, take us away with our polls for The Tribe has posted. This is where we look at everyone's social media, all of the castaway social media throughout the week, and we get to see what tea we could find.
Yes.
Ooh.
I mean, I feel like I should have had something on Todd's, but I sadly don't. But we have a couple of polls. The first one that we did was, do you think Maria made the right picks for the reward? 52% said could have been better. 5% said, yep, benefited her. That I think that is one vote. So to the one person you are on this island, we hope you're okay.
It was
but you
Maria.
are it was Maria. It was Maria. But no, I agree. I completely agree with it. It could have been better. I think everyone was very aware of it. And the second poll we had was, what treat do we think Jeff will bring to Tribal next? And it was a very close call. We had chocolate, cookies, glass of wine, Applebee's, perhaps. But the winner was cookies. And I could see cookies being the thing. But my question to you two is, if he does bring something, maybe in one of in the finale or the final Tribal Council, what do you think he's bringing?
It's got to be chocolate of some sort.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say hopefully nothing. I don't care about him eating during the final Tribal Council. Well, because they're gonna have pizza at the what is it? The reunion thing that they do now. So I'm gonna say pizza.
Yes,
That's a cop out. Such a cop out.
I was quite literal in there,
You
but
were.
all right.
So these are some posts to Venus's reactions. First of all, clock the Venus's name change. You can tell her and Q are clearly loving each other still. Venice is her new name.
Thank you, Venice.
Gem, obviously another one. Like every time, like when I saw Venus get voted out, the first person I wanted to look to was Gem, because I knew Gem was going to say something. And then Hunter keeping tradition with 3 people in a row now going out with idols. They are the clown crew at this point, but we love them all.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing.
Yeah, and then cameos have been a topic of conversation. Venice, we've suffered through enough Qmos. Why not be ready for? To me, I just see that and see Venmo. It's all I see when I see her make her thing.
Vimeo,
yeah. And obviously Q making a little comeback there. But he says at the end, this is turning into everybody wants to be Q instead of everybody hates Q. I am so sorry to say this, Quintavious, but no, that is not the case. You and your Q skirt, well done.
I don't know, Ollie. I have to push back. I mean, I think that Q is a great character on the season of Survivor 46. So, I can kind of see where he's going with that.
Oh no, he is. Like, let's not lie. He is a great character this season. But I think if we now have, the next couple of seasons of everyone trying to be Q, I think people could get irritated quite quickly. And the final thing we have, which I don't think any of us thought was going to happen this week, Q decided to beef, like it's Survivor X Drag Race. Q was competing against Plain Jane in cameos, and if anyone has seen this, it's been the funniest thing. Matthew alluded this to me, and I just kept an eye on it because Q, for some bizarre reason, atted Plain Jane and was like, "I'm beating you. Come at me." And I was like, "What? I didn't even... This is what I mean." Like, Q literally was there trying to I don't think he was trying to purposely start something with Plain Jane, but he sat there being like, "Come on, I'm beating you now in cameos." And I'm like, it's cameos.
But let's face it, this was genius to me. This was genius because this is Survivor 46. RuPaul's Drag Race this season just ended. Plain Jane was a big character on that season. So like from a marketing perspective, I'm like, this was really smart, Q. This was really smart to sort of like try to bring in the audience that follows Plain Jane into here. And I like that Plain Jane also commented.
Do we think that we're going to see them battle it out on House of Villains season 3?
Oh my god!
Epic.
Or Traitors?
Not
Traitors.
Blood Traitors.
What was that?
He would be so bad at Traitors. He would be so bad at it. He's another one. Like, yes, he's an excellent character on TV, but I've never seen someone get so paranoid and wishy-washy my entire life. One thing happens and he's like, I'm out. I'm done. It's like, what are you doing? You're a coach?
Yeah, he did try to fall on his sword a few times, and that might not bode well in the Traitor's castle. No,
it would just be very funny because he'd be sat there asking everyone to banish him.
Yes.
Every round, banish me, guys, banish me. I'm a traitor, banish me. He'd make it to the end and say, I'm a faithful. That's what would happen. It'd be great TV.
I like this. I like this idea. Like, let us know in the chat or in the comments after we're done with this video. What show could you see some of these castaways from Survivor 46 go on to next? Because we are seeing that crossover happen a lot more now. Todd, do you have a show that you would want to do?
I would do Traitors, Big Brother, or Amazing Race. I would do or Survivor. I call them the top 4, and I would do those.
That's awesome to hear. I would love to see you on The Amazing Race.
Same. I'd love to do The Amazing Race.
That's it, though. I don't think I would do any others.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully one day we'll see you back on our screens. And this is just a reminder before we close out here. Remember to play your idols. And Todd, I wanted to thank you so much again for joining Ollie and I to talk about this episode of Survivor 46. We had such a great time talking to you.
Oh, thank you for having me. Honestly, I love chatting with you guys. It's fun. Survivor talk is fun for me, so I appreciate it.
Good. It definitely never gets old.
Yeah.
Now, from us at Got Something For You, Survivor Now podcast has so much happening all week. So again, on Wednesdays, you get the reaction to the episode right after it premieres on the East Coast. Thursdays, you get Survivor Social with Kara and Tegwith. On Fridays, you get Survivor Stock Watch. And then on Saturdays, you come visit us at Got Something For You, where we do a little bit of this editing, storytelling, chat, and conversation. So with that, thank you all so much for joining us. We love talking to all of you in the chat, and we will see you next Saturday for another Got Something For You.